that's more circumstantial than me really knowing what I was doing. So, you know, I enjoyed it and had a lot of fun. It was good to sort of salvage something out of that day, and then frustrating at the same time to sit there and go, wow, you know, really came close to winning.
Cool. All right, so Elizabeth DeGroat has a question. She wants to know, what do you consider your greatest success so far?
Well, it's really hard to say. You know, I don't have a championship yet in the Cup Series, so the 2 championships in the Busch Series mean a lot to me. The Daytona 500 means a lot to me. The win in the All-Star race as a rookie meant a lot to me. But I think just making it this far probably means the most to me. You know, just being around and you know, still going to the track, still aiming for the same goals and the same reason for being there. You know, it's kind of I never thought going to the track would be that difficult. You know, but sometimes you know, the grind and just week after week after week, and the devotion you have to make to the sport to be able to truly go after it 100%. It takes you really have to choose to lead this life, and you give up a lot of things that your friends experience, or what, you know, you don't have. You can never hang out with people on a Friday or Saturday night after a long work week, or know what that experience is like. Everybody's like, you know, everybody's always glad it's Friday because they're off work. Well, that's when I go to work, you know. So it's tough kind of living on this different time frame than most everybody else I know, most of my close friends, because I miss out on a lot of things. But you know, I'm always at the track and calling them on Saturday night, going, you know, wondering where they're at, feeling like I'm missing something.
Okay. Danielle Ayers wants to know, what do you think is going to be your biggest obstacle this year?
I think the biggest obstacle is really the toughest obstacle for me is overcoming adversity and keeping a productive attitude when things you know, even in little tiny you know, circumstances, such as just a single change that we made on the car that doesn't work out or takes us a couple steps back. I get sometimes it's real easy for me to just get really frustrated, and I have a bad habit of, and Lance reminds me of this, I have a bad habit of being, you know, calling hindsight and going, you know, we shouldn't have done it that way or whatever, you know. So it's really easy to do that, I know, but just getting moving forward once something doesn't work, moving forward and moving past it and trying to find a solution to the problem, trying to be a part of the solution instead of a part of the problem. I mean, I think last year I learned a lot about what happens when you try to forget about something that didn't work and try to move on and try to focus on the next opportunity. And I also learned that how when you dwell on, you know, your failures, or when you dwell on a certain instance that went poorly, how that can affect us. I learned a lot last year, and I think just trying to maintain that positive attitude, trying to be contagious, you know, to my team with a positive attitude, and trying to let that, you know, kind of let them feed off that.
So, Sarlowski 33 at yahoo.com says, "Hey Dale, what race are you looking forward to most this year?"
It's hard to say, you know. I really don't. I used to have favorite tracks when I was younger, and I learned if you have favorites, then you have ones you don't like. And if you go to, you know, if you go to tracks that you're not looking forward to, you normally don't have a good weekend. And so I had to sort of learn how to like all of them. And I enjoy the short tracks. We don't race many short tracks. Martinsville's fun. It's really frustrating, but it's fun, and Bristol's the same way. It's really frustrating. There's so many. Every lap, every second in the car, you're sitting there going, any moment somebody could turn me around, or something could happen or whatever. It's so easy to be off a little bit and get a lap down at those tracks and be out of the hunt and have to work even harder to try to get back into the race. So I really enjoy the short tracks.
Okay. Hal W wants to know, if Danica works out well, will Junior Motorsports consider sponsoring a Cup car for her in 2 to 3 years?
I think we would. We've already kind of talked about going Cup eventually one day. Whether that's, we have to face that decision and decide whether, first off, somebody has to give us enough money to do it. Then we have to decide. But before all that happens, because it was the same way with the Bush deal. Somebody came up one day and said, "Hey, do y'all want to start a team? We got the money." And we really hadn't really thought about it. So in a matter of 3 months, we had to get together and make this decision whether we were going to start a team, which basically means, all right, I'm going to hire 40 people and take this on and start from scratch and develop it in 6 months. It was like more of a decision than just saying yes. There's a whole lot more to it. So we have to sort of sit around at me and Kelly and Tony Jr. and Rick and everybody sort of has to sit around. Obviously, we'd have to change the ownership deal around because Rick couldn't be a part of it and all the things. And I'd hate to lose his relationship in this company. But I feel like that I'm interested definitely in doing that and seeing what those, it just depends on what the package looks like. And 'cause that's such a slippery slope, trying to be in that series is very challenging right now.
Okay. Sliding Stock Nick wants to know, who is the most influential person in your life?
Well, I think I'm still influenced by my father a lot. He's probably the one I'm most influenced by on a daily basis. And behind that, it's probably Kelly and my mother and Rick, and I sort of, I follow a lot of examples, and that could be an example set by a friend of mine or anybody, So, when somebody does something that I feel is good, morally and maybe even surprising, I try to follow that example. So I'm always kind of, picking little, habits and good habits off of people around me. I think that the people around you sort of have a lot to do with what kind of person you are.
Bridget Snowwow 68 wants to know, what type of music do you listen to get ready for a race? The funny thing, I'm really into music a lot, and I really love, I sort of, I'm always on iTunes all the time, kind of searching what's the latest and greatest and looking up all the bands that I know, seeing what they got coming out or what they may have released. And I'm always, swapping music with friends, and like we'll fill up our iPods and give them away to each other, and that's always a great way to find out about new artists, which the further you can dig into the vault, and find something you've never heard before is really that's the prize, in my opinion. But lately I've been, and people always ask me, they say, they always ask you on the spot, what kind of music you're listening to lately, and I can never. Most times I can't even think of one group, and seriously, honestly, I'm like crazy about music. So when they put you on the spot, you can't even think of one group just because your memory goes blank. It really is frustrating. But I've been listening to a band. It's called Brand New, and they've been out for a little while, and they've got a couple of CDs that they came out with lately that I really like. They got a song called Jesus Christ that's really, really good. So Matt Good is a Canadian artist that I've been a fan of for years, and he just released a new CD called Vancouver that's really good. And so those are the things I listen to these days. Flate 23 wants to know, if you weren't racing cars, what would you be doing?
Well, I don't really know. I guess I've always, like I said, I've always liked music. So I think being a music critic or some kind of a
a record label representative or something would be a lot of fun. Scouting, bands and trying to find that next good thing would be a lot of fun for me. I can't play or make music, so being involved in the process of bringing it to the masses would be enjoyable for me if I was on the on that end of it. So I think that's probably something that I would feel like I'd be good at. I've always been interested in short tracks, local short tracks. Being a short track owner or a short track promoter would be a lot of fun. I think I dream that might be something I find myself doing when I'm 55, 60 years old. It just depends, on what's happening, how things work out. But you always sort of daydream a little bit about where you want to be and what kind of life you want to be living.
If you're just joining us, welcome to This Week with the 88 live video chat with Dale Jr. at ampupthe88.com, the new online destination for Dale Jr. We've got a lot of questions coming in, so we'll just keep going. All right, XO Sarah Dawn wants to know, are there any special paint schemes that you're running this year?
Yeah, I'm running a lot. I don't even know where I'm running them. And I'm running. It feels like to me I'm running quite a few this year. We got a new one coming up this weekend at Fontana, and AMP has developed a breakfast juice, and it's really, really good. I was surprised at how good it was, and the guys at the race shop really love it. So it's good for them in the morning when they get there and they're needing a little bit of a pick me up, and they don't have take a break from coffee. So it's orange and white, and it's a pretty good looking car. But we're running a special paint scheme, I guess, at Martinsville, and at I don't know where else, Talladega, a couple other places. But it's like it's one or two more than we ran last year, I think. So some AMP cars and some guard cars. So we'll just have to see what they look like. I think we just finished sort of picking and approving the all-star paint scheme, and I had a lot to do with it, and a friend of mine also did. So it was. We'll have some more to show people about that. I think it's a pretty good looking car, so I'm excited about what people are going to think about it when it comes out.
Cool. PJ Gal 2000 wants to know, will you and Tony Stewart keep working together all season? It's great to see you Sunday at Daytona.
Yeah, I don't even think me and Tony really worked that much together Sunday. We tried, I don't know. We worked together Saturday because he was leading, and I got to second and felt pretty comfortable sitting there, just keeping those two positions right there. I felt pretty good about that. So it was fun. I like Tony a lot. Tony's really a lot of fun to race with, but at the same time it kind of can be frustrating racing him, because he has a certain standard that he races to, and he really expects a lot out of his competitors and the people around him, which he has every right. He's won a championship and won a lot of races, so he races hard. So you got to race smart around him. He demands it. So it's fun being around him. We seem to be able to, if we ever find each other at the plate tracks, I don't know, we just seem to really be able to trust racing around each other. We don't have conversations about it or anything like that. We just, I feel comfortable in his level of aggression and what he's willing to do and willing not to do, and it just sort of works really good with what my approach is, and I think that's why we seem to have a little bit of success when we actually do get together on those tracks.
Okay. Missy Bree 65 wants to know, how do you feel about the new bump draft?
It's the same as the old bump draft. The bump drafting is no different. It's just something NASCAR feel like that the decision they made at Talladega last year to police it was not the right one, so they just went away from it and sort of back to where we used to be. So it's really no different. So.
Pixie Cat Texas wants to know, do you think that online racing adds to your expertise on the track?
I don't think it adds to my expertise. I just think it's a good tool to keep refreshed, keep the rust off. I ran a race Wednesday, a pretty big event against the toughest competition in iRacing. Wednesday before the 500, and I ended up winning the race, and I beat a lot of guys that I normally on a regular basis don't beat, and it gave me a lot of confidence. And the way I ran and drove in that race was kind of similar to my approach to the way I drove in the 500. And restricted plate racing is more about attitude and mentality than it is about driver or car. The car really has more to do with your success at those tracks than you do. And so what you bring to the table is really your decision making and your judgment. And so I think that I learned a lot about my approach and my driving tactics and style was real successful Wednesday online in the virtual world. And so it should, in a sense, that or a version of it should work pretty good in the real world, and it did. So I think it's a great tool to to keep yourself mentally sort of in check. I think that it teaches you a lot about how to be make the mental judgment calls and have the right approach.
Okay. Solid Sora wants to know, what is your favorite thing to do during the off season?
Well, I don't know. I like taking trips with my family, but when you take a trip, that's like basically a week you're giving up. See, we travel all year long. We're away for 38 weeks and 38 races in 42 weeks. So when you get done with the season, all you want to do is go home, and you basically have to kick yourself in the butt sometime in December and January to go somewhere. Say, all right, man, let's go. Let's go take a trip. Your family wants to go. You ain't seen your family in a while, so you grab all them up and you go somewhere. But we didn't do that this year. I finished a house I'd been working on for a while, and wanted to just sit in it, so I just did that. But we ride four-wheelers. We had a relationship with Prerace for many years, and I really enjoyed that and learned a lot about it. ATVs, and we cut a lot of paths and stuff in our property to be able to ride them. So we do that a little bit. Hang out to Western Town, or we'll go down to Whiskey River in Charlotte a lot. We do that a lot, and I go down to Whiskey River a lot in all seasons. It's a lot of fun.
Okay. West Coast Gal 88 wants to know, did they make the orange AMP energy juice for you, since your favorite color is orange?
Well, I don't know. I doubt it, seriously. But I think that one of the neat things about working with AMP is you get to see a lot of ideas kind of come across the table. They try different concepts and different ways to sort of fuse AMP and it's what it's about into maybe a new product entirely. And some are really all of them are great ideas, but some take off and some don't. And I really have a lot of confidence in the juice because, number one, I guess because of how I was surprised it tastes just like orange juice. You're expecting with an energy drink for it to taste just a little bit different, and it doesn't. So I was surprised by that, and I feel like that there's never really been a great alternative to drinking coffee, and I've never drank coffee before, but I got a lot of friends and family who do, and there's never really been a good alternative to it. So now I think there is one. So it's a good looking car, and hopefully I think, like I said, there's a lot of concepts they come up with, and some will be successful and some will not, and I think this one has a really good chance of becoming a mainstay, in the product line.
So Duck Fan 78 wants to know, do you follow any sports teams, college or pro?
Yeah, I like watching college football. and I followed different teams. I really sort of I used to watch Oregon Ducks when Joey Harrington played for them. I thought he was a really fun player to watch, and their field was neat. But let's see. I mean, I've always been a North Carolina fan. North Carolina has gotten a little bit better on their football program. Their basketball program is always a lot of fun to watch. They're not having a good year this year, but that's part of it. They sort of got to have those years where they rebuild and scout. But we get pretty competitive, I guess, sometimes around the Carolina Duke games or whenever Carolina's playing a North Carolina school. But my mom was from Virginia, so I pulled for Virginia a little bit. I wasn't really ever a Virginia Tech fan so much. I kind of pulled for the underdog, which was Virginia, and has been between those two schools. And I'm sure there's somebody that running back for Stanford. I would probably see where he goes in the NFL and follow his career. I follow a lot of players' careers more so than anything, because it's really all about their personalities, anyways. Especially in this day and age where the NFL is more about free agency and there's so much balance and parity amongst the teams. It's really used to have dynasties, and the teams themselves as a big unit had personality, like the Cowboys and the Redskins and all that. Now you really just sort of see like an even playing field from one end to the other. So I like college a lot better, but I still I watch every Redskins game I can. I play fantasy football, and I played for the first time this past year, and I learned more about football than I ever thought I would know. I couldn't believe it. I never had any idea. So I'm sitting there learning about these players, and you just know everything about them. You know what the third receiver for the like some random player that you would never have any idea or never know anything about. You're sitting there scouring over and going, should I trade this guy and pick this guy? It's pretty fun. So I enjoyed that. I don't watch much basketball. I do watch a Final Four. When it gets down to about the Sweet 16, I start paying attention, and I always go for the underdog. It was great to see Davidson, which is a local school, make it the last couple years ago or whatever. And we meet a lot of players for all kinds of different sports, and at the races they always kind of come and watch or whatever and be a part of the festivities. So you sort of become a fan of guys as you get to know them.
Okay. Here's an interesting one from Jillian 0078. They want to know if you have any tattoos.
I don't have any tattoos, so. I've always sort of thought about it. I've always kind of wanted one. My mom's got a few. My sister's got a few, and I got buddies that have them and all that. But and I thought about getting one. I'm not really against it, so I just don't have the idea yet, I guess, of what I want or what it is I would like to have forever on my body. So that's a big decision.
Yeah. Okay. Fan number 88. Is asking, since you just finished second at Daytona, will you keep the beard since it appears to be good luck?
Yeah, I'm probably going to hang on to it for a while. I'll need to. I'm sort of learning, I guess. Not really, but I'm not really trying that hard. But I'm sort of getting an idea of how to keep it trimmed up, cleaner a little bit. It was pretty rough when I got to Speed Weeks. I hadn't touched it all winter, so it was like. Had these squirrelies going everywhere, and it was a mess. But which I kind of like it like that. But my mom and everybody that I see every day complained about it. But I don't know. I like it, so we'll see. I think I'll hang on to it for a little while till it gets annoying.
Okay. So Tricia Lansbury wants to know, Mr. Junior, I was wondering, out of all your wrecks, which was the most scary?
Scary. Well, this past weekend at Daytona, flipping upside down on the backstretch, that was scary. I kind of got out of the car and talked about how, you know, how the experience is mind blowing. It really is, and you don't want to go through it. You know, it's not nothing you want to you look forward to. But when you do go through it, it's sort of, you know, you don't have much of a choice. But you do take it in. It's an incredible dramatic experience being inside a car that's flipping and tumbling and destroying itself from the outside in. So that was pretty scary, and because when I was upside down, you don't know where cars are or if cars are going to hit you and whatever. And when your car's upside down, you're really vulnerable because there's no real good protection down low near the ground where your head is. So anytime you blow a right front tire, it's kind of scary because it's such a surprise. You're not expecting it to happen, and all of a sudden there's this loud noise, and you have total no control, and you're head on, like aiming right for the wall. Nothing you can do about it. So I think the feeling of being helpless is what sucks the most when you're in a crash and you have no control over the car at all, and it's heading toward something and it's going to hit something. That's not a fun feeling because you sort of got to brace for this impact and you have no idea. I mean, it's sort of like standing there and letting some boxer punch you in the face. You don't know what it's going to feel like, but you know it's not going to be good.
Okay. Dirt Track Lady 88 says she heard you play Call of Duty. Is that true? Her whole family plays.
Yeah, I play on the PC with a bunch of friends of mine, and I've had this sort of online family for years where it's like about 30 or 40 friends that have the same hobbies as me, which are online racing and playing first-person shooters. And we used to play Rainbow Six, all the Tom Clancy games and all that stuff, moved on up to, you know, Battlefield and all the Call of Duty games. So we play on the PC. I don't play on the Xbox or the PlayStation. And we race iRacing all the time too. So I've done this. This has been kind of one hobby of mine, and at times my number one hobby, and at times not my number one hobby. But I've done it for about 15 years, and you get to know people. You know, you meet people, and when you see them on a regular basis, you become friends with them. So we got a pretty big group, and we get on the TeamSpeak, which is a voice-activated program where we can kind of, it's kind of geeky, but we can talk to each other, and heck, we sit on there sometimes and don't play any games at all and just shoot the crap.
Psycho Juggalette wants to know, what is your favorite car that you've driven?
I think my favorite car was the Gray Ghost that I ran at the All-Star race for National Guard AMP. It was, I was so happy that they allowed me to make that car and to be able to color not only the car but the decals and everything the way I wanted, and it was just a good gesture from both AMP and National Guard to allow me to create that car the way I wanted to create it, the way I thought it should be, and that was entirely 100%. Not really it wasn't 100% my creation, but we had full control, and you don't really get that from many people, so it was a lot of fun. And I think the fans enjoyed it. It's a good-looking car. It looked awesome on the racetrack.
So, Junior Nation, you're visiting live with Dale Jr. at ampup88.com. Keep the questions coming in. Dale's here for a little while longer. Next question is from Junior Girl Jen88. She wants to know, what drivers do you hang out with the most?
The most? Well, I talk to Martin Truex Jr. the most. I don't hang out with him because he's hard to he don't come out of the house much, and neither do I. So we basically just sit on the internet and ask each other a bunch of questions and keep up with each other on AIM. But I talk to him the most, just about a couple times a week. And I don't know what it is about Truex, but I don't know. His dad was up where he's from in New Jersey. His dad was a successful, hard-working race car driver. And owned a big company that Martin was, Martin had to work in, and I don't know, the parallels and similarities between me and him growing up are really similar. And he's just a good guy, so hard to find good people. but to be around. Elliott Sadler's a really good guy. I've known him for years. Matt Kenseth and I are pretty good friends. He gives me a hard time all the time about not. Every time I see him, if I don't say hey first, he's quick to point out that I don't talk to him anymore. He always says that. But Jamie McMurray's a good guy. Hang out with him a little bit. Not, when you say hang out, I mean it's just the people. There's certain drivers that you enjoy seeing when you're at the track and you run across each other. There's certain guys that you're happy to see, and you're glad that are in the sport, and you're glad that are around what you do for a living. Because I love racing. Racing is what I do for a living, and you see these people every week. So, Hamlin, he comes to he's just opened himself a club in Charlotte, and he had been going to he'd come to Whiskey River every once in a while, and so we have a lot of similar interest, I guess, in that regard with the nightclubs and stuff. So he's a pretty good cat. So.
Okay. So here's an interesting question. Gene A88 wants to know: do you ever sing while you're driving?
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody gets to singing in the car, even if they don't have a stereo. I guess, imagine this. I mean, if you were in a car, I don't know if you'd be able to answer this, but if you were in a car driving down the interstate without a radio, would you sing more often? So, I don't know. You might. But I think in the race car, sometimes you're just doing it to, because I don't know, I like music, but you can't get a song out of your head. A lot of times I get songs stuck in my head and end up singing them in my head. A lot of times it sounds weird. It sounds crazy. Maybe I need to get that checked out.
Okay. Fan number 88 wants to know, what's your favorite flavor of amp?
Well, it's tough to say. I like the Lightning a lot. And I drank a lot of the orange, and the grape would be third. But I like the Lightning the best. It's the yellow can.
All right. TT Lopez wants to know, when you seek advice for racing, which driver do you generally go to?
Well, I think Mark Martin is a good guy to go to. Obviously, he's sort of got that market cornered. I like to talk to Jimmy because Jimmy, he's won. Like, Jimmy's going to go down in history as one of the greatest drivers. He has that going for him, and but he's right. He's not really he's not on the backside of his career yet. He's still kind of like maybe in the middle or still kind of up on the upswing, and so it's fun to talk to him, and his perspective right now on things, and just his general thought process and the way he carries himself doesn't really match up with his success, So it's kind of fun to talk to somebody like that. He's still pretty grounded, and I don't think he. You can tell when you're talking to him. I don't think he really understands exactly what he's done, So it's kind of cool being around people like that. I like talking to Jeff too, because he's been around for so long, and he's just experienced so much. And we really have, I've sort of, I used to envy him when he first came into the sport and won all these races and everybody was hating on him. I was envying him for his success. And then him and my father were very competitive, They really didn't have that year-long battle for a championship or anything, but they were competitive with each other. And so, I knew I intently, was either, kind of forced to watch Jeff a lot, So he's been around the sport for a long time. It's kind of cool getting his perspective on things, where he is in his career. So I used to talk to Dale Jarrett a ton when he was a driver.
when I would come across things that would confuse me, or when I'd go, man, why is this okay to feel this way about this particular problem? And I would talk to him a lot.
Okay. Henri Gal wants to know, in the last 10 years, how much do you think you've grown as a driver?
I don't really know. You know, I think that, yeah, I really don't know. You know, I think that when I first came into the Busch Series, I was really naive. You know, I was young, all those things you would expect. And I feel like that I was really lucky, I guess fortunate to kind of get through that without making any mistakes, being so green and when I mean mistakes, I'm saying moral mistakes, you know, handling, disrespecting people, or doing something that even, you know, doing something I would regret even today, such as just, you know, bad-mouthing my team or just having arguments or disagreements. And when you're that age, you know, you just, and having that much success, it could have easily went that way. I could have easily thought that I'd hung the moon, but I feel like that, you know, you just, as you get older, I think you mature as a person. You learn as a driver every day something new, and those two are not the same. They're kind of parallel, the driver and the person, and you grow up every day, and you mature and try to maintain and hold on to your values and what you think is right, and you try to live as the person you think you should be, and one that will make people around you glad to know you and glad to be around you. So I try to do that, and I don't know, you know, as a race car driver, you just try to learn as much as you can. Try to, you know, confidence is everything. Confidence is half the battle when you're in a competitive sport.
So here's a good one. Paul Gleason, 88, wants to know, do you ever get tired of hearing TJ's voice during the race?
Yes. I'm kidding. Me and TJ are really good friends, and he's one of the best spotters up there, in my opinion. He has a great talent for it, and I'm not quite sure if it's his calling or not, but it's really close, you know, to it's just something that he's really, really good at. So I feel very confident in what he's doing up there, and that he's telling me the right things. He's actually, you know, when you're talking about a spotter, people always assume it's clear high, clear low all day long, but a good spotter talks to the crew chief and dictates a lot of things that are happening on the racetrack that have nothing to do with your car. It's about what the other drivers are doing, where the shade is, how long cleanup's taken, what kind of damage a car might have or your car might have. A crew chief can't see everything from that pit box, can't see my car all the time or whatever, and can't see the other cars. So TJ sort of has to give him an overall view of how the race is going from TJ's vantage point, and he does a really good job of that part. That's really key. If the spotter can be not only helpful to the driver, but be an advantage to the overall, you know, team and the approach of the day and toward the goal, that's when he becomes truly a value to the team, and I think TJ does that.
So David Newton with ESPN.com wants to know, what do you think of the Dale Jr. beard guy on Twitter?
Dale Jr. beard, I haven't seen it. David Newton would ask that kind of question. You wasted your question, David. Good job. You could ask something better than that.
Okay, then Sam the Shepherd 8 wants to know, how do you feel about drivers who talk smack about other drivers?
I think it's good. You know, I think it's fun for the fans, and it makes it interesting for the drivers. It's a long season, you know, so even if you're not involved in it, it's a lot of fun to watch it. So I enjoy a good verbal battle between people. It's fun to see, you know, who can win.
Cool. Feltner 2009 wants to know, how often do you go to the bar that you own?
I go a lot in the off season. I really don't get around there too much during the race season. It just depends. Week off, you know, I'll go on the weekend. That weekend if I'm home, but I really, you know, I really don't like. I won't go over there next couple weeks, traveling on to the West Coast back and forth, and you know, we do a lot of appearances and stuff. And if I'm going over there, I'm going to party, and that means I'm gonna need about 24 hours to myself afterwards to recover. So really can't give that up during this week.
Yeah. Okay, Junior Junkie 88 wants to know, what's your favorite food?
Well, I like, you know, I like all the stuff that's not good for you. Pizza. I got a couple joints in Mooresville that I like. Pie in the Sky and Village Inn's pretty good too. And but I try not to eat that stuff all the time. And I've been doing a lot of baking, like not on the not like cakes, like instead of frying all my food, I've got this this woman that works over at the house, and she does, you know, everything from cleaning to cooking and taking care of things over there for me. And she does she's been baking most of my food, which is, I guess, a little bit healthier. So I've been eating less fried foods in the last several months. So I don't know. I like the one thing that I will tell you that I just thought of is I like anything that has teriyaki on it. I love teriyaki.
Okay. All right. Well, Sammy Dale Jr. wants to know, with all of your fame, how do you know when to trust someone as a new friend?
Well, I mean, it's hard to trust people. You know, they, you know, I don't know. You just have to, just like everybody else. I mean, it's based on experience. You know, you deal with people, and if you don't like the way they handle business, you don't deal with them anymore. It's pretty easy, actually, to decide who you're going to trust and who you're not going to trust. It's really simple.
So, Paula K wants to know, do you have any weird pre-race rituals or superstitions?
No, I don't have any. Most people ask me that question, and I feel like it's a letdown because I don't have any superstitions or anything that I do. No routines or nothing. I've always had the normal superstitions of you know, walking under the ladders and black cats crossing the road in front of you and stuff. But nothing race related.
Okay. So, Junior Nation, we're winding down. We've got a few minutes left here with Dale Jr. on the live video chat at ampup88.com. So get those final questions coming in. So, Dale, PJ Gal 2000 wants to know, she loved having her name on your car last year. Will fans get another chance to do that this year?
I don't know. We're gonna do another one. All right. Yeah. I guess Talladega again. Yeah. Okay. I got a big group of people behind me that help me answer these questions, but or behind you. I enjoy doing that. You know, I think that's fun for the fans to be a part of it, and especially this past year where AMP made it a lot more fan-friendly, where they could go to the website and see where their name was exactly on the car and stuff, and get the assurance that it was on there. Because when you're talking about 88,000 names, you know, it's really not many people really got an opportunity to know exactly where their name was, and if it was. You know, how do you know if AMP ain't pulling the wool over his eyes? But they did a good job this past year of validating that program, you know, and including the fan in it. So I think that I liked that car too last year, the black with the green stripes. So maybe we'll do something real similar to that.
Okay, Baby Momo79 wants to know, which of your nicknames do you dislike the most?
I think I don't. Darrell Waltrip's not going to be happy, but I'm not a big fan of Junebug. It doesn't really bother me that much, but it just doesn't fit, I guess, with where I am today, being 35 years old. But he just has known me for so long, and he, as I get older, so does he. So, he just keeps calling me that. But my dad called me that too. So I guess it's okay for DW to call me Junebug. But I thought, back when I was in my 20s that I would get tired of getting called Junior as I got older. And I used to hear, I didn't know for sure, I used to hear that Alistair Jr. had sort of regretted, that label or whatever. As you get older, you just kind of want to move away from it. You want to be a man, you want to be not called Junior. So, but as I got older, I didn't get tired of it. I still like being called Junior. Nobody really calls me Dale, which I thought, it'd be kind of cool to be called just Dale, but it sounds weird. It just doesn't sound right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've had a lot of other nicknames. I don't know if you call them nicknames, but I've been called a lot of names that I don't want to be called anymore.
Okay, couple more questions. Dookie Love 18 wants to know, do you think you will still be racing at the ageless wonder Mark Martin's age?
Well, Dookie Love, I'm not real sure if I will be racing at the age of 50. I can only hope that I'm still doing it at Mark's age. Mark's a great, he's a great example of having passion for what you do. At that age, he's been doing it for so long, and he still has the same energy for it as he did the very first day. So it's really amazing to watch and amazing to be around. You really feel that energy when you're around him, how into it he is. So it's, hopefully it rubs off.
Corey Ashley wants to know, what new business ventures are you going to start up this year?
Business ventures. I don't even know. I don't really go out brainstorming. So you just sort of sit back and let the ideas sort of come. We have a lot of good people that work at JR Motorsports that sort of carve these ideas out of some of the things happening around here or something that they saw or whatever. But hopefully we're just going to make what business ventures we have better. I'm really feel like I'm in pretty good shape with the number of ventures I have. I really don't want to keep stacking them on.
Yeah. Tex48 wants to know, do you collect cars, and if so, what kind of cars are in your collection?
I got some Camaros and a couple Corvettes. Camaros is my favorite. I got a 67 and a 73 that I'm really proud of. So, Camaros, that's where I'm at.
Okay. And Kevin wants to know, do you collect your own diecast models?
Well, not really. I've got a few. But there's behind the camera right here. There's a big stand of probably 25, and so we get a copy of every diecast that's made, and we keep them. We keep 2 or 3 copies. So I guess you could call that a collector.
Mom, 3 Cute Boys wants to know, what do you do after a race?
Well, there's another race after the race, and that's the one to the airport. So it's all the drivers, everybody trying to get out of the racetrack and get over to the planes and be the first one on the taxiway, or else you're sitting in this long line of planes waiting to get out of the airport. You can sit on that runway for 45 minutes to an hour, which I guess is kind of average on a commercial flight, but I don't know, I just we get home as fast as we can. You're trying to get home before Nowadays, everybody's going to be in that big of a hurry, more of a hurry because of the races starting earlier, so we can get home before dark in most cases.
2 more questions. Good.
Okay.
Okay. Chad wants to know if you could change anything about the NASCAR schedule, what would it be?
Well, I kind of like the way things are going with NASCAR right now. I feel pretty happy about it. I think that it's long. I wish it would be nice to have 1 or 2, maybe even 3 more off weeks to sort of be able to allow the teams to recharge their batteries. And it'd be nice for the drivers too, but for the teams, people would be surprised at how much like the crew's personal lives take a beating throughout the year with their missing their families and their children and their wives, and it's frustrating, to kind of see them guys struggle so much with being away from home.
And then Amanda J13 wants to know, have you ever been pulled over for speeding in your personal car?
Well, I think everybody's, who hasn't? I haven't had any tickets though in a long while, but I had a few when I was younger, and I learned real quick that it's good to take your time getting places. Somebody told me a long time ago, you might as well take your time because they can't start without you. So that's sort of the way I am. Those tickets are expensive, and the first one I got, I didn't know what to do, with it, so I just paid it off, and then my insurance goes up, and I'm like, what's this all about? But so I learned a lot of lessons back then, and one of them was to don't get caught speeding because it's expensive.
So before you actually came on camera, we had another visitor, and it was Killer.
Oh,
so
yeah.
A lot of people are chatting, asking questions about
Sure.
Killer. So they just want to know who.
Yeah, he's the guy we're all chasing in souvenir sales, and I had no idea his popularity was going to be what it is today. But he's a good dog. I have to thank the Biffles for I was going to get an Irish setter. I told my sister, because I used to have one when I was a kid, and it was run over on the highway. So I was like, man, I want to get an Irish setter. I'm a lot older, more mature, and I'm about to the point to where I think I can handle having a dog. And so, but they brought Killer over to me at Indianapolis into my bus one day. He's a little guy, and that was it, man. I was pretty happy. I had a dog. Yeah, he took off. There's pizza, I think, out in the hall, so he's not going to hang out in here.
Okay, well, this was a great chat, Dale, and awesome questions from Junior Nation. We hope you all enjoyed this week with the 88 and with Dale Jr. Remember, AMP Energy is bringing you a chance to chat with different members of the 88 team every week at ampupthe88.com. It's the new destination where Junior Nation can come each week for weekly chats, daily sweepstakes for autographed items from you, videos, photos, and more. And next week, Wednesday, the 24th at 12:30 Eastern Time, we'll have your crew chief,
Lance. That ought to be fun.
Yeah. So, Junior Nation, mark your calendars, and thanks, Dale. Hopefully, we'll see you back later in the year.
All right. I appreciate everybody for logging on, and hopefully this was enjoyable for you guys. So I enjoyed it.
Thank you.